essentially I was coming home, and I take on board that I used to. I don't know if you in your own lives prejudge people when I'm new in your world, and badgers are kind of a new thing to see slaughtered all over the freeways and on roads. And when I used to see any dead animal, but specifically badgers, I had some compassion toward them, just thinking, maybe people I've never met, people I know nothing about in their own lives, maybe they should just pay a little more attention when they're driving, steer a little quicker, know that there's other things out there, maybe just go a bit slower in their lives. And as I was condemning others fictionally in my own mind, I struck a badger with my motorbike. And I didn't really create scenarios in my head of how fast a badger can get out of the woods and get in front of you. I just assumed, that people were actually trying to hit them because I thought they're just sitting in the middle of the road taunting cars or whatever. But of course, they can gallop at a crazy rate, and especially when all they have to do is gallop the length of a car tire to get onto the road itself. Out of deep bush is the one that I was in Devon going by. He or she, I believe, I don't know. I didn't sex the animal. But regardless, I hit it with both tires, and I don't, if there are motorcyclists in here, just if you need reassurance, I was quite surprised at how little it affected the ride, because you play scenarios out in your head hitting an animal, and there's always a bit of like you're going to hit a tree on skis or whatever. You got that like tension type buildup, and I didn't apply brake. Is how quick it happened. It was just like both tires hit, and I don't know if you would keep going, but I whatever it is in my life, I put the bike on its kickstand. Maybe being a bit Canadian, I pulled out my headlamp and went back to investigate the scene. And of course, in my world, the nightmare was unfolding that, of course, it wasn't dead yet. Yeah. And it was just, had that finish what you started look on its face. And now I'm just, you're living a war movie, essentially. You're just wandering around in the bush trying to find something to kill a badger with. And it was quite a bizarre scenario because I wasn't far from home. And if you know anything about Devon, if you don't, the place is the most flinty place I've ever been in my life. I've never been anywhere where there is more flint. And in fact, as I was wandering through the woods trying to find an effective rock to be able to kill a badger with, I was astounded because all I kept happening, being that it was in the dark anyway, all that was happening was I was having flashes of rocks that I knew the whereabouts of that would be incredibly effective for killing a badger. I kept having, the one that I used to hold the shed door open when it was windy, that'd be amazing. There's one in the hall closet. We use that for the main door, and then I just thought you're over focusing, as I've been trained that you shouldn't do in a panic situation. Don't over focus on things that don't matter. Go to what you can do for the situation. I thought, don't worry about rock. It doesn't have to be a rock. It just has to be a killing implement. Find a stick. Find anything. And then somewhere in the middle of this frantic situation, I just in the woods alone just thought, dude, you're gonna have to kick this badger to death. And then just had to examine myself. I don't know if you've ever had to stand in the cold, hard light of the moon and try and figure out which kick of yours could best kill a badger. But I don't want to get too specific, but I arrived at the right heel hammer. And then it was it was quite out of body because my leg was able to achieve the kick I was looking for, which was quite effective with a motorbike boot on. But it was like I didn't want to be involved in it, and I didn't want to be watching what was happening to the poor animal. I just wanted it over as quickly as possible. So it was like my boot was bringing the heel down, and I was like looking the other way like a stunned onlooker to the situation. Ah! Ah! It was like very out of body. And then at the same time, I just thought, the last thing I need, people who are suspicious of me, like James, my neighbor, who is already curious about my snow tires, the last thing he needs to see is me kicking a badger to death. And then I had the thought of, should I drag it deeper into the woods? And that'd be way worse to be caught with a badger in a headlock, getting him. And did you see what I saw last night? Kicking a badger to death. That's what he was doing. What, the long-haired guy? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So of course the lady didn't like that scenario, but I think people appreciate that there's enough humor in that.
This lady doesn't like it. She's telling her partner off for laughing at it. But that's you come out of that very well because most people would have just driven away. Right?